Greetings, gentlemen. As we get to the latter half of the book of Exodus, I thought it might be useful to take a look at the geographical region we're going to be looking at. As you probably know, we're going to be in and around the area of Mount Sinai. And as I started preparing for this, I started to realize I had a lot of questions about what the area actually looked like and what the approach to the mountain would have been like for the Israelites. As you'll see as we start reading, the Israelites make their encampment outside, off of the mountain, and they're not allowed to approach or to get onto the mountain itself. So I thought it might be useful to take a look at that area and see just what they were looking at. So, using Google Earth as our guide, and starting with some place I think we're all familiar with, we're going to take a little journey from Holbrook, Massachusetts, out to Egypt. And we'll see exactly what Mount Sinai looks like, to those on the ground and also from the air. Okay, so we're getting a little altitude here. We're going to head out over the Atlantic. Slide across Africa over to Egypt. Just going to orient the map here. You can see Egypt, Israel up to the northeast, and there's the marker for Mount Sinai in the Sinai Peninsula. You can see the mountain range there in the darker color. You can start to get a sense now of just how dry and arid it is down there. Very rocky, very little vegetation. And as we rotate the map a bit, and we see the three-dimensional landscape, it really starts to come alive. And now you can really make out Mount Sinai. Somewhat surprisingly, as we rotate around, you start to find it is by far from the highest point in the area. In fact, in a lot of ways, it doesn't even stand out that clearly in the terrain around it. You can start now to get a look at the plains and the valleys that surround the mount, where the Israelites would have likely camped, and certainly where the borders and the perimeter was that they weren't allowed to cross. Now, this is a little tool that Google Earth provides. It's a little panoramic photography that somebody put together and then uploaded to Google Earth. And I think it does a good job of showing you what it would be like to stand at the summit of Mount Sinai. This is taken at night, and I imagine the shutter was left open for quite a while, which is why the light is as it is. But it is a fairly dramatic scene from the very top of the mountain. As you come around further to the left, you see there's a small shrine or church of some kind that's there. That's obviously recent times. And then back around again. Now I'm panning around again to the west side of the mountain, and you'll see here the valley floor. I suspect if the Israelites, if the Jews were coming from Egypt, this may have been the area that they would have approached the mountain from. So you can potentially envision Moses and the leaders having set up a perimeter on that side, telling the Israelites, don't go any closer than this point here. Here it is now on the east side, and looking more towards the south from here. And then one last shot looking down at the mountain from a higher altitude, and then dropping back out just to show you the map one more time. I hope this was helpful to you, or at least interesting. I know I certainly found it beneficial to have a better understanding of the landscape and the terrain that the Israelites would have been staying in at this time.